How do you like that shit? Got halfway through the monologue before unmuting myself. Golly, it's one of them fucking days. Jesus Christ.
We're professionals.
We're professionals. Fuck's sake.
Oh,
Man.
let's take it from the top.
It's been a day. Try this again. All right. Welcome back, horror fans. It's Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, and that means it's time for another episode of the Week in Horror podcast. The only podcast where they mostly come at night. Mostly. Some of us come in the morning. We are coming to you live from our YouTube channel, so for all of you podcast listeners, be sure to check us out so you too can be part of the live audience. This week, we're covering select films released in horror history April 11th through April 17th. Thank you much. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Johnny O, and with me are JL and the one, the only, Sex Machine.
That's just it.
That's it. We're done. We're done.
I was going to say his name. We go on like waiting. Sex Machine Eugene. But good evening, everybody. Good to see everyone. What's up from Sex Machine? Oh, yes, that's how we do it around here on Week in Horror.
That's right.
Oh, buddy. Well, thank you, Johnny. Thank you so much for that stirring intro. I do appreciate it. All right. Whoa! It is another week. Let's take a look and see who is in the live chat, who has joined us tonight. We got Ricky Balboa. Hello. Good to see you. Basic Trigonometry. Sexiest name on the internet. Thank you for coming. One of our illustrious patrons. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Jinju. Pleasure to see you. And, of course... Jessica G, our stream queen.
Yep.
She's not a horror fan. She just loves train wrecks. Well, then you're in the right fucking place, my lady. We already started off.
Yep. Train wreck.
And there's more to come. Absolutely. But so good to see you, hon. It's a pleasure. Charlie Welch, the only man you never make a bet with. So good to see you, sir. And Kevin Paul, #fail. Yes, you are correct.
Yep.
It wasn't the first. It won't be the last.
That's what they get for putting me in charge.
And hey, what's up, Dark Steve? Good to see you. And we Jessica G says, I ended my stream just so I could be here on time. So hello there, Plot Hole, Week in Horror, J.L. Warren, Eugene Hawkins, Titty. I'm not saying that
you got it.
Get a shout out. You almost got
I read it first.
Got him.
I read it. I was like, there's no way he's going to say that. There's no way.
But I didn't.
Got him.
She almost got me.
She got you. It was out.
I didn't fucking
say
it.
You were on the last syllable of titties.
I went. I'm not saying that.
Well, don't worry. Review the tape, Jessica. I got your back.
I honestly wonder how many times she has me saying that shit. There's going to be a fucking video that drops.
It's going to be like the end of season 2. Where it's just a compilation.
That's an idea right there. That's an idea.
That's gonna be funny as hell.
Make it into a song. I'm not gonna play with those titties.
You gotta like auto tune it so it's like real
poppy. Yeah, that's gonna happen. Oh yeah.
Like to time of your time of my life,
something,
or my heart will go on, or some shit.
I don't know, something. It's got to be like a pop, like an upbeat number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how are you guys doing? How has your week been?
Yeah. I'm so glad to be here. So glad to be here.
Try that once more with feeling.
Sorry. So happy to be here in America.
And Eugene, how are you doing?
Oh man, it has been super busy. Currently working on 2 projects right now, and which I'm still not able to get into a lot of details about them, but just kind of putting stuff like that together and coming up with how we're going to do some pretty gruesome kills on one of them is going to be pretty awesome.
Fuck yes. It's going to be a lot. I'm aware we have some stuff that we can't really talk about just yet, but some really, really awesome things in the works. I cannot wait till we can actually break that news. It's going to be freaking sweet.
They won't even tell me what's going on, so don't feel bad.
But I guarantee that once we can, we will talk all about it here on the show, and everybody who's in the live, they'll get to hear it first. Is exactly what the hell we have going on. But I think all of you are going to be pleasantly surprised with the final product. But yeah, this week has been insane because, as it turns out, at my job, my boss is leaving. So he's transferring to another property. So right now it's pretty much me, and I'm picking up all the slack of 2 positions, and it's fucking crazy because it just, whatever. So, but nonetheless, and plus I got stuff going on, we're selling the house. I'm prepping to move, and it's absolutely fucking crazy. But nonetheless, good things are in the works, and I cannot wait to share it with everybody here. I see we got some new, someone else, PhD Tony. Hello, good sir.
Hello.
Who says certainly the number of penises is unchanged. Oh, he's speaking to just G. He said, Speaking of something, PhD Tony has arrived. The vagina to penis ratio just went way up.
I'm curious there, JL. Why is it you have no problem saying penis and vagina, yet when the word titties shows up?
Because penis and vagina are technically clinical terms.
So are titties.
I was going to say they're medical terms. Yeah.
No, I've never heard the doctor say, show me your titties.
Well, it's a different kind of doctor, but,
that was just a guy in a back alley in a doctor coat. So
exactly.
He said he was a doctor.
They called him Dr. Feelgood. God, that was such a bad reference. I'll put myself in timeout.
All right. I'll see myself out.
Yeah.
It said Ricky Balboa says, sounds like you should take a listen to Because Boobs by Psycho Stick. I have not heard that. Have you guys heard that?
You haven't heard Boobs by Psycho Stick?
I haven't heard Boobs by Psycho Stick. I've listened to Psycho Stick.
You're missing out.
I've not listened to that. Psycho Stick is the one who did the beer song, isn't it?
They do, they do all the parodies, like it's so heavy and all that shit. Yeah, we were supposed to open for Psycho Stick, and then that fell through. So I feel really upset about that part of my life. But we're gonna move on and talk about horror films.
We will talk about horror films.
Talk about horror films. Yep,
talk about horror
that's
films.
What people are actually here for.
Not to hear JL say what.
Say what? I have no idea what you're talking about. I got nothing. I got absolutely fucking nothing. All right, well, let's jump in here and talk about some fucking horror movies, because that's what we do here at Week in Horror. So the first film that we have coming up released April 11th, 1997, and it was what was this? No, 97. No, this wasn't the first right now. But the movie Anaconda.
What was that?
Anaconda.
No, before the Anaconda.
My anaconda don't want none.
Jesus Christ! But
unless you got buns, hon. Right. That's why Jennifer Lopez is in the movie.
That's why J-Lo's in the movie.
So you'll sing.
That's the inspiration for that song.
You'll sing some goddamn Nicki Minaj, but you won't say titties.
No, we're not gonna sing Nicki Minaj on.
You just did.
No, I didn't. No, that's Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Okay. I know.
Yeah, that's Sir Mix-a-Lot.
I know it's Sir Mix. Never mind. Just move on. Move on.
God, you're old.
God damn it.
I thought I was old.
You are old.
Anyway,
you are
Anaconda.
old. So
Anaconda
old that you didn't get the reference.
I fail. Okay. Hashtag fail too. What do you want? Fail to the failing. Anaconda, released April 11th, 1997. Directed by Louis Llosa. Written by Hans Bauer, Jim Cash, and Jack Epps Jr. Starring Jennifer Lopez, Ice Cube, John Voight, Eric Stoltz, Jonathan Hyde, and Owen Wilson. Wow. Owen Wilson. We early in there getting his start. But pretty much, I'm pretty sure everyone has seen this movie. But in a nutshell, for those who haven't, to summarize, a group of film students go into the Amazon looking for a lost tribe to do a documentary and run aground a giant fucking anaconda, and turns into a massive creature feature with some really, really fucking silly shit. But definitely a film so bad it's good, because its cult following is ridiculous, given that this movie cost $45 million to make and grossed $8.8 million at the box office. So one of those really, really excellent, a legendarily awesome bad movie.
It's one of the ones that really sticks out because it's a bad movie.
Yes.
I mean, it hands down. I've never heard anybody be like, man, this movie is like really awesome. No, this is a terrible, terrible movie. But the thing is that it executes it so well. Like, I think with this movie, it already knew what it was to begin with, and that's why it worked. Like, it's a bad movie, but it worked because first of all, you said it cost 45 and it grossed 130.
Mm-hmm.
So they made almost $100 million. If you make $100 million doing anything, you did something well.
Yes.
You know what they did well? You know what they did well in that movie? They showed J-Lo's boobs.
Well, sort of.
Yeah,
you could see her boobs. Okay,
wet t-shirt.
Right, but that's what it did. That's what they did.
We're not talking Jamie Lee in Trading Places.
Man. No. We're not talking about full-on chesticles. We are talking about. I mean, it's a see-through scene, but still, and I mean that in all seriousness. It wasn't that. I mean, J-Lo sucks as an actress. She's terrible. Okay, anybody who says,
I don't know. She was good in U-Turn.
I give her 50-50.
I give her
acting.
She hasn't gotten a lot of solid roles. That's a problem. She doesn't take risky roles.
Yeah, but there's a reason for that. It's because she can't handle it because she's not that good of an actress.
Maybe, yeah. But I thought she was very decent in U-Turn. Maybe
I haven't seen it, because I don't really watch J-Lo movies. But that being said, when you say they knew what they were doing, that's true. They did. They knew exactly what they were doing, and part of it was the sex appeal of Jennifer Lopez because she was still young and up and coming. But people knew who she was. They knew she was a dancer from In Living Color, and then she had started her singing career and started her acting career all kind of the same time. So she was up and coming, and she was willing to be a little naked. And people were like, "Hey, J-Lo's naked, woo!" And then they didn't hire bad actors.
True.
They got John Voight, who's one of the, he's a legend in his own right. Eric Stoltz he may not be, an A-lister, but he's a good actor. He's
okay.
Yeah. And then, of course, Owen Wilson playing the role that he plays, I guess, just being himself.
He was up and coming at the time also.
Right.
I didn't mention it, but I believe that was Rachel. Who was it? The girl that was with him. No, there's Carrie. Yeah, Carrie Werner was in it, and she was on Sliders for quite a long while.
Yeah.
And then of course I totally spaced. Danny Trejo's in this fucking movie.
Yeah, but the reason why you spaced because he's in it for like 5 minutes, and that's
he's the first kill.
Yeah.
Like he shows up, he's like the film opens with him and then he dies. So
right. So there are a lot of people, and the casting they did a good job of the casting. Even Ice Cube, I didn't hate him in this movie, even he really can't act either. But
I gotta correct Jessica G. Anaconda. She says Anaconda is terrible. I remember the first time I saw it, the only lasting impression was J-Lo's something, and the guy from House. There were no actors in Anaconda who were in House because the black dude in House was Omar Epps, not Ice Cube. Ice Cube was the dude in Friday.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about what's his name? The guy who played the narrator. The British guy. What's his name?
The narrator.
Yeah, he was one who was narrating the documentary they were there filming about the Shisha Shamash.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Wasn't he on whatchamacallit? House?
Vincent Castellanos is Mateo, Owen Wilson, Jonathan Hyde is Warren Westridge. No, he was on The Strain, and he was in Jumanji, but no, he wasn't on the cast of House.
Fair enough. I thought maybe that's where she was going. I thought he was on House.
Oh,
so
it was all good, but you are correct. I mean, there were things that were done absolutely correct. I mean, it was a terrible film. The thing is, I don't think the movie ever took itself very seriously. No one in the film, like in the movie, took it. Yeah, they did their jobs, they did it professionally, but no one tried to like overwrought that film. They knew what it was. It's a big giant snake, and the movie has not aged well at all. Although I do think that some of the scenes with the close-ups when the snake was practical, the practical effects of the snake were actually pretty good. I do. The CGI snake was absolutely fucking terrible. And I mean, obviously anacondas don't move that fast. It was like fucking Michael Johnson in like, a snake costume. But the practical stuff I thought was decent. Was really well designed.
I mean, sure, I would go and give it some of the practicals and stuff like that. But I mean, it was like I said, it was just a film. It knew exactly what it was. It wasn't trying to be anything more. And like I said, I'm not gonna say it's a great film. But the thing is about this film is this: we all remember it. We have all forgotten films that we've watched, but the fact that we actually remember it, we're talking about on the podcast, means that it actually did something.
Okay.
I hate to admit it, but we've seen it, and we all have our comments about it, but we still watched it, and they still made money off of it.
Jessica G says, I wanted to correct you as well, Jail Warren. I said titties, not, quote, something. So please read my comment verbatim. Thanks. For the crowd whom are incapable of reading it due to being vision impaired.
Jessica G, this is why I have cast members. This is why I have castmates that they can read comments such as this. See Dark Steve? So that's why I have someone else to read things.
So here's what I'll say about Anaconda and what it was trying to do. It was trying to be, it kind of came out during that whole creature the new age of creature features, right? So you had Anaconda, you had Lake Placid. What else came out at that time? There were a handful of other films that came out at that time. There were new big monsters, scary, whatnot. Anaconda was not good. Lake Placid was a better film.
Oh, agreed.
I think it was because Lake Placid was a horror comedy, and Anaconda wasn't intended as that. It was the funny bits that made Lake Placid so much better.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Anaconda was just funny, and it didn't want to be.
you laughed at Anaconda, whereas you laughed with Lake Placid.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I want to say Eric Stoltz, who has one of like the most useless characters I've ever seen in a film, because he gets under the boat and then he gets the bug in his throat and it's like the river has 1,000 ways to kill you, and he does nothing for like a fucking hour in the film. Like
until he wakes up from he's like, oh, hey, everything's good. I survived because I wasn't involved.
Well, no, he came back a little bit to help out, and then he got choked out again by
that's the okay.
Yeah.
No, he was more useful in Back to the Future. The fact that they
that's wrong.
Than he was in Anaconda.
I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say he was more useful in The Prophecy, because he was in it for 5 minutes before he got burned up.
He got lit on fire.
Yeah.
Before Christopher Walken said, "Okay, this is how much use you have." but interesting to note that J-Lo was not going to be the original choice for the lead actress. Originally, they had considered Gillian Anderson and Juliana Margulies.
So, but they both said no.
They both weren't able to commit because of
that's just
look. I just go with what they say.
I understand. I understand. I know you go with what they say because you don't like to point. You don't like to call a spade a shovel. Here's the deal. That whole I can't commit because of scheduling conflicts means I read the script, it's shit, and I'll be doing anything else other than this. That's what that means. That means the dollars that they were willing to pay those two actresses wasn't enough to get them to force those actresses to stoop to that level of Anaconda.
Well, if you could say so, but anyway, Gillian Anderson was busy with X-Files. Juliana Margulies was busy with ER. But wondering, Jesse says, duh, they wanted fine. They wanted a woman with bigger titties to play the lead.
Yes.
Are you happy now?
We are all happy now.
But I'm trying to imagine Scully in this role because she's so tiny. She's so little. I actually think that would have kicked ass.
She would have played it better.
Well, this would have been actually I think this would have been 1 year. Yeah, 1 year into X-Files, because X-Files came out in 96.
Was
Oh,
it?
it came out earlier than that.
I thought it was 94.
Or was
Yeah,
94?
yeah.
Okay, so this would have been this would have been like at their when they really picked up pace, because 4 seasons in, X-Files was hot.
Oh, 93. Sorry, 1993.
93.
Yeah.
So 4 years in. Oh yeah. She would have been way too busy.
Yeah, and it's on top of that, because shows like that you usually film 9 or 10 months out of the year. So if you want to do a movie, you have like the 1 to 2 to 3 months you're off, and they have to actually schedule the production like around your schedule.
Yeah. Oh, and another one of our awesome patrons has joined the show. Good to see you. And he says, and Lopez had nothing going on at that time.
She had nothing better to do.
She really didn't.
I need a movie. Okay, but despite the fact, Anaconda, terrible movie. Totally. I mean, I thought it's John Voight, but I thought John Voight was completely over it. That man almost reached Jeremy Irons' level of overacting.
Yeah.
And of course, I thought Ice Cube was decent. Unfortunately, The Token. But he didn't die, which is
that's
pretty
the thing. Yeah, I was going to say that's 2 horror films that he's been in that he didn't die as a token black man.
Didn't die as the black man in the horror film, and then of course, but despite all these failings, obviously Eugene brings it up. The movie did work because they did the things that make creature features awesome. And I kind of wanted to go to just kind of look at that, consider creature features pretty much been around since. Post World War II, the threat of nuclear war, and science making big giant animals and stuff. Everything from them to Godzilla to what we have to movies that we have today. Even more recently, 2019 with Underwater, and big technology unleashing big monsters upon us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious, the little things that make a great creature feature. Obviously, solid heroes that we can identify with, and heroes that we can believe in, or heroes that obviously we think are hot. Challenges for them to overcome, and then a decently designed monster, of course.
See, I think that's what worked for me with Lake Placid too over Anaconda, was that this alligator was believable. I mean,
well, they actually made a full 30-foot alligator in that.
No. What I'm saying is, we've seen gators that were giants. What was that was actually based on a real life giant alligator? What was his name? Not Bruce.
You're talking about Gustav.
Yes. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's there's never been a snake as big as those anacondas ever.
Well, let's see. I know that in that movie they actually made as part of the production they Stan Winston Studios created a 32-foot long crocodile.
That's crazy.
For that movie. And so that's when they got that excellent shot where they got the excellent crane shot when Oliver Platt was in the water and the thing was floating right in front of him. They got that good overhead shot.
Yeah.
The whole thing was legit practical effects. So unfortunately in Anaconda, the only time the snake was legit was in close-ups of its head. So you only had real practical snake for about, I would probably say 2 feet. And then every time the snake was in wide shot, all CG.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily. I mean, the practical effect. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of practical effects, but I think when you come with the premise of an oversized creature that actually exists, you have to go a more comedic approach, like Lake Placid or say Eight-Legged Freaks or something like that.
Right. Eight-Legged Freaks.
And if you want to do the more scary route, then you have to create the creature. So if you take the monster or alien or something like that, where it's because just the thought of any creature on this planet oversized or doing something that it normally can't do is comedic on some level. So if you try to make it serious, it won't work.
Mm-hmm.
So why does it work for Jaws? Well, because Jaws really didn't have. There were some moments that were kind of like, haha, we had a laugh to break the tension, but that was definitely a straight horror film.
But if you take, say, Jaws, for example. Yeah, the shark is over aggressive, but the shark isn't super enlarged. The shark it's not climbing up on the rafters on the boat or anything like that.
Or screaming. It's not screaming.
Okay, that was bad. Why did they hire Frank Welker to do snake voice?
I don't know.
Get it.
I don't know. I just don't.
Okay, I'm a huge fan. Frank Welker is an inspiration to me as a voice actor. Him and Nolan North and Kevin Michael Richardson, big inspirations. Frank Welker is legendary. Why? Obviously he's going to take the money, take the paycheck. But snake noises, like what was he fucking credited as? He was credited as Anaconda voices.
Snake ADR.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
What the fuck is that? Jinju's just swashbuckling sharks now. Street sharks.
They should have just had some, like fucking Jim Henson puppeteer with making the snake speak. Hey everybody, I'm gonna eat you now. That's how stupid that was.
See,
screaming snake. Fuck off.
The snake actually talks. Yeah. Well, see, that's what's awful about that is because whereas a crocodile can be fast, a crocodile can be faster than faster than it can strike.
Especially in water.
Especially in water. A shark, definitely fucking scary. Spiders, I mean, there are people that they're legitimately terrified of just tiny spiders. Make the spider like giant, like an 8-legged freaks. That's legitimately scary. Or an arachnophobia, where it's like a special breed, a hybrid that is like crazy big and venomous. But an anaconda, a snake. I mean, if anybody who's seen one knows this snake is slow as fuck. It can strike, sure,
right,
but it's not like this. This was mutant, ridiculous. Can't possibly even especially with a snake that big,
right,
at like 30 fucking feet or like 40 feet, however big they made this thing. There's no way the thing couldn't strike to save its life.
Yeah, that's why they don't exist.
Right,
why they don't exist.
Yeah, and then when they gave them teeth in the sequels, fuck.
Yeah, and actually, what was it? The last one came through the Daily Splatter, and it was completely. I mean, they went with like Command and Conquer 2 CGI on the shit. It was absolutely atrocious, and it had like fucking shark teeth in it. It was like dagger teeth. I was like, what is this nonsense?
Yeah.
At least the production company in this movie, in the first one, when the snake opened its mouth, I was like, okay, that looks like a snake mouth. Snakes don't really drool like that.
No.
That's kind of gross, but hey.
I guess there is a foaming snake, but no, they don't drool. They're not rabid.
But I will admit, it was entertaining that the snake like vomited up John Voight, like he was vomiting up those lines. I thought that was kind of
he vomited up and he like blinked a couple times.
He winked at her.
Yes, yeah. He just got
deliberately.
Yeah, you just got squished and then halfway digested, and then gonna wink. Come on, and then
still alive enough to be like, not be like, oh help me, but to be like, yeah, I'm still a fucking creep. I'm half dead. I'm still a creep.
How you doing?
Yeah, exactly. And how was that? How was he supposed to be fed to the little anacondas? Those things couldn't eat that motherfucker.
I have no idea. I don't.
I don't.
But obviously, maybe it was giant snake. Ice Cube was in it. Obviously this is like the 90s. Ice Cube was big. Jennifer Lopez was getting seen, especially after something. They wanted to see her in a horror film. Obviously, the early images of her were all they're all wet. So we get to see wet shirt. Maybe it was that. And then you just pack some capable actors around them and a story of fighting a giant snake, and that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much. I mean, I guess it's bare bones. But obviously, people learn from it, and other studios learn from it because we got much, much better stuff later on.
Did we?
Do what?
Did we?
No. Well, yeah, because Lake Placid came out in '97.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, we got some better ones.
Yeah.
On it. Yeah.
We got one better one. You named one better creature feature. Lake Placid.
I like Eight-Legged Freaks.
Eight-Legged Freaks is also quite.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
And I don't knock it. Both Rogue and Primeval were actually Rogue was a bit better than Primeval. I thought Primeval was a little hackneyed. I thought it was just it was like, oh my god, this fucking crocodile. Well, the crocodile is legendary, yes, but it's not that legendary. Okay, it's a crocodile, not a fucking dragon. So
I don't know. Have you ever seen a dragon and a crocodile at the same time?
I've never seen a dragon.
Sure you have.
No, I've seen. You mean like I've seen a Komodo dragon?
A Komodo what?
A Komodo dragon?
A Komodo what?
Oh God. Continuous. What do they say? What do they say into the chat? What do they say? Well, Jessica G is apparently really pissed off about that they're bringing back Scream 5 is coming up. She's really pissed off about that. But There are some fans of a later film that we're going to be talking about. We won't spoil it just yet. And of course, PhD Tony, the man who can teach us anything and also put us to sleep, but was talking about basically the reality of snakes like this, which is probably why people were pretty aware of that. And probably Ricky Balboa says snakes do drool when eating. I don't, but this thing was fucking salivating like Pavlov's dog.
There's a little bit of like, it's a difference between the lubrication they produce to be able to swallow their food versus like fucking, waterfall of spit.
This was cartoon salivating.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think so. I imagine that they probably have saliva. Obviously, they have saliva to help, get started. And obviously they do. It's their mouth. They have saliva, but not like goofy. I open my mouth and it's just like whap. This is not the way it works.
Right.
I know Eugene knows it. It's not, it's not, they don't open their mouths, and it's like Jessica G when she sees Eugene.
Oh man!
Shinshu is right. Yes, it was worse than a xenomorph.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are some drooly motherfuckers.
Yep. Well, there's some stuff I could say about xenomorphs, but I'm not going to because we don't want to get a strike on this channel, so I'm not going to say that stuff.
No, we're not even monetized.
Doesn't matter. You still get a strike.
We do this for the love of the game.
You
That's
can
for the love of the game.
You can still get a community strike.
Oh, Jessica G says, yeah, this snake was drooling like it was PhD Tony on a 56K modem, and the on-screen titty JPEG was just revealed.
Where it slowly reveals, it's like...
Yeah.
when it's just like tick, 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 tick. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
The grown-up version of the Scramble channel. Skydiver Tanner, hey, good to see you. Excellent. And she says JL should be the star of Sixth Sense, all grown up. What the fuck?
Because you see ghosts.
I do not see ghosts.
Because you believe you see ghosts.
I don't believe I see ghosts.
But that's the joke he's making.
And Ricky
don't do that. Don't you glaze over his joke because it's making fun of you seeing ghosts.
I don't see ghosts, and I don't need to give it any more attention than it already has.
Hey, Skydiver, you keep up with those good ghost jokes. That was a good one.
Okay. And this is interesting. Just great. I know it's kind of a divergent, but NANA says Ricky Balboa never heard of rabid reptiles. I was unaware that reptiles could get rabies because of their low body temperatures.
Oh, they can?
I heard that they can't.
They can't.
I don't think reptiles can get rabies.
Yeah, their body temperatures are way too low. It's very simple, like possums. It's very difficult for possums to contract it because their core temperatures are too low to sustain the virus.
Yeah, I did not know that.
I was pretty certain.
Yeah, it's only mammals. Only mammals, but birds, fish, reptiles, and amphibians can't. They don't.
Yeah. Jinju says ghost titties, and don't worry, we will have 13 ghosts here on the show. You're coming up here pretty soon.
Those were some. I don't like it when horror films do that. Okay.
Do what?
That ruins the titties.
When they're dead titties?
Yeah.
You don't like dead titties?
No, not into dead titties.
Yeah. I mean, neither is anybody else.
well, no. We're not talking like dead The Shining titties. Okay, we're talking like 13 Ghosts, hot model, really fixed up, never going to sag ever again titties.
Still dead.
Still count. I'm not saying I wouldn't hesitate. I'm not saying I wouldn't stop, but
there would be a serious moral dilemma going on.
I might question myself afterwards. Oh, holy
Jesus Christ.
Charlie Wolf says that would definitely be reptile dysfunction.
Yep.
That was good.
Yep.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Oh, by the way, Charlie Welch did say earlier that he is going under the knife very soon, so we do wish you a speedy recovery. I hope everything goes all as planned. Hopefully they give you the size that you asked for and not the size that they think you should have. That's all I'm saying.
Just believe.
Oh, that's gross shit. Yes. Our thoughts are with you, Charlie. Definitely get well soon. That's gross shit. Titties are worthless if they really melt in your mouth.
See? Exactly.
Oh.
That's fucking gross. You don't need to know how many dead titties I've seen, Skydiver Tanner. I've never seen so many dead titties in all my life. Lord knows I have.
Jesus Christ. Let's what is your favorite giant animal horror film, people? Let us know. My God. We're over here talking about dead titties.
That's what happens sometimes.
Jesus Christ.
We get sidetracked. Ever since we invited the live chat in, we really get sidetracked a lot.
Yep.
But it's funny. These guys, I love interacting with the chat. These guys are friggin' amazing. They're a hell of a lot funnier than we are.
It is awesome. And then keep in mind, for those listening, we do our live stream at 7 p.m. Central Time on YouTube. So definitely check out, join our chat, interact with us, make us get distracted and sidetracked and all kinds of stuff. And it's a lot of fun.
Talk about dead titties that melt in your mouth, not in your hands. Yeah.
It's all salty and cold.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What a Jesus Christ. Next. Fuck.
Next film.
Let us know in the live chat or in the comments below, or hit us up weekendhorror@gmail.com. What is your favorite giant animal horror film? We would like to hear. Oh shit, we never even mentioned Grizzly or like Prophecy. But both great films. But definitely, let's Eugene, what do we have up next, man?
All right. So next we have, released April 14th, 1989. We have The Edge of Sanity. And it was directed by Gerard Kolheim.
I always give you the best names.
See,
It's not even English.
we were talking about this right before we went live. That JL gives himself all the easy ones. Like, it's directed by Bob Smith, starring Richard Hines and Sally Field. And then he gives everybody else Jared Kyokin. Fuck that is.
Kyokin.
Gerard Kikoin.
Okay.
Gerard Kikoin. And starring Anthony Perkins, Linus Barber, and David Lodge.
Hey, we got one. Don't ask us who produced it, or
don't ask who did the music either.
Yep, that's it. We got directed. We got 3 cast members. That's it.
That's all you get.
Google if you want to know the rest. And basically, in a nutshell, it's a modern kind of a Jekyll and Hyde, where basically somebody gets to do special cocaine, and he reverts into the Jekyll and Hyde dual personality traits of it, and shit gets real. Shit gets really real. It starts off real. It doesn't even ramp up to it. It starts off.
There's no ramp in this movie, is there? It's just like
this one comes in hot. Yeah.
This comes in like straight barn scene. Shit's going down already. He's getting wept and stuff like that, and it just continues that ride throughout the entire film.
And it never stops. Well, it does stop when the credits roll.
That's it. That's the only relief. When the credits roll.
Yeah. That's when you know the ride is over, when you're actually getting off of the ride. JL.
Oh, yeah.
So
Dick.
And that's all we have to say about that. Yeah, that's it. We're done.
So that's it. So next film.
there was the thing about it, Johnny, and your cue was the obviously the biggest issue that people have with this is 1989 and early on was that there was big issue with this film with the depiction of sexual brutality against women, is that it was extreme to the point that some people thought it was just over the top for the sake of being over the top, and that being a modern remake of Jekyll and Hyde didn't, just because it was a modern remake, or especially because it was a modern remake, it did not warrant this level of carnage. But we were in the age of the slasher at this point. 1989, we're at the end of a decade of like the big slasher names, so you've got to make a splash if you're going to do a splash movie. Because the serial killer film, like the serial killer drama kind of suspense horror, didn't really pick off until like late 90s. So in this one, you've got to play with if you're going to play with the big boys, you're going to play with Freddy, Michael, Jason, Leatherface. You got to go hardcore, especially when you got Anthony Perkins and his history. So, I mean, the guy who what was it? Dang it, I totally fucking lost it. But yes, sorry, the guy who was sorry, no, my brain farted. The guy, I mean, you got Norman Bates in it.
Yeah.
But we've already seen him as Psycho. Arguably, I actually say considered the first slasher film. But he's got to go toe to toe with some already big names. And of course Perkins is legendary. So he's gonna go full bore,
It's when you look at the Jekyll and Hyde, and there's only been kind of a couple actual like makes of it, it always goes against what society at the time feels like is taboo. So when you look at the original 1930s Jekyll and Hyde, when he turns, he actually reverts to characteristics of what people thought black people were. Like if you look at the way his face turns, the way he acts more kind of ape-like. What you would see in a lot of extremely racist stuff at the time, but at the time that was the fear of it. And so it's like, oh my God, he's reverting back to an animal, and it has that subtext of the thing against like black people at the time. And so now looking at this one of the big components is you're talking about, well, what's taboo and stuff like that. You can't go race, because on that you want to go something higher to up it. So you do the sexual brutality of it, and we'll make that taboo, and we'll go into that. And of course it has to go over the top. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what they felt like it had to do.
There was, now that you bring that up, the 1920 film, the silent film Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, they did play with that. And we could say it was kind of like a de-evolution, but now you pointed out those traits were very obviously there. Where we have the dapper, well-to-do white man, and then reducing down to this edge of this almost animalistic, damn, now I feel weird talking about it.
But here, that's the thing, right? Yeah, that's the thing. That's what these movies are here for. They're here to highlight the either the subdued or the overtness of what the shitty things that we've done. I mean, we got to look at what the conversation is and why we're having this conversation. Not you and me and the chat, but the conversation of the film. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde there was a lot of overt racism in it, but it was a fear of the mixing of the kinds, so to speak. You know what I mean? How black culture is influencing white people, and how that could be dangerous and shit like that. So it was a very racist idea, film wise. Now the book, different story. We can get into that at the hoity-toity, book review we can do. But whatever, we're talking about just the film.
And because at the time, that was stuff that scared people.
Right.
As you're getting, like I said, you're right, more black culture is starting to influence with things such as like jazz.
Yep.
That's coming in. And you're getting to the point where cultures are starting to intermix, and a lot of people were terrified at that. A lot of people terrified at it. Segregation was still a thing at that time.
Yep.
And so the filmmakers based it on what would scare the masses. And that's what they came up with.
And that's what the beauty part about horror films is they've always been a reflection of our deepest, darkest fears of the time.
Yes.
Absolutely.
that actually plays out very, very well in 1931 in Universal's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the one that Frederick March won the Academy Award for.
Yeah.
And of course, the technical aspects, the technical, the very intense details that went through into creating the transformation, which and it was really cool. The secrets of that were revealed to the public until after the director died, which I thought was really, really cool.
Oh yeah, that is hands down one of the best transformation scenes I have ever seen, period. It's genius. If you get a chance, go to YouTube and you can just search the transformation for it's like 31, right?
Yeah, 1931, yeah.
1931, and on black and white camera, and the way they actually used a color filtered lens on it to reveal the transformation. It's an incredible cinematography.
It was pretty brilliant, and it was cool that he kept that a secret. He's like, no, this is mine, to play with. But it's intriguing because we get up to a certain point, and while I do remark particularly for the Edge of Sanity, I do like the fact that the cinematographer and the set design was smart, because the idea of the film being, or the feeling of the film being set into kind of like Victorian era, but having the kind of anachronistic tones, because there were a lot of it. There's a lot of inspiration from the 1888 Jack the Ripper case that went into this as well, which is what partly inspires the carnage that we see on screen. So we get a little taste of both. So a little Jack the Ripper for the blood and the gore, and then Jekyll and Hyde for the incredible performance of Anthony Perkins, because he can switch both sides. And I liked the anachronistic tones that gave it something a little bit new, because it keeps the view very similar to if anyone's seen It Follows. It was very similar to that, because you don't really know at what point you're at, and you see something, you're like, okay, I'm rooted here. Whoa, what? That doesn't make sense. Or like the style of dress or the style of hair, or you may see an object that didn't appear then, or something of that nature. And I love that they did that. And for 1989, I thought that was pretty brilliant, because it didn't make it just another ham-handed slasher film with, violence against women. It gave it something new. And I thought it gave it a nice little taste of that. It made what appears to be a very old story, Robert Louis Stevenson's The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Mm-hmm.
A very, very old story, somewhat fresh. And I kind of dug that, as far as it, because there's been hundreds of adaptations of this thing, both film and stage. And that's something that I'm very curious about. It's one of the most enduring legends since, I think, Robert Louis Stevenson wrote this book, and I actually have the notes here. 1886 was when Robert Louis Stevenson actually wrote this. And it has endured to this point. But at this point right now, despite the fun things that are done with it, I think the last mention I think I've ever seen, what was it? Universal's new dark universe they're trying to do.
With the Mummy and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was Russell Crowe was doing it. But these days it's tongue in cheek, right? Why has it become that? This is one of the most, next to the vampire and the werewolf and Frankenstein, this has been one of the most prolific, villains, like the dark side of man, mm-hmm. or some shit like that. And it's endured to this point. So, but these days it seems so. I don't know why it's fallen out of favor. Why has it fallen out of favor? Why is it only used as a throwaway trope or something that, whatever? I think before the Mummy, what was it, Van Helsing? And it was used for pure comedy.
Yeah, it was at the very beginning of the film, and it was kind of a throwaway idea. It's like you didn't need Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and Von Helsing.
Exactly. And I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, and if you go, and I actually had to go back, and I had a little bit of time, so I skimmed through the original, the Robert Louis Stevenson novella, and was like, this is brilliant, brilliantly written, and a wonderful meditation on the dark heart of man, and just it tapping into that and why it's so amazing. It kind of brings of Hemingway in that respect, but nowadays, modern times. Are we too desensitized? Are we too in touch with that animal side of ourselves? Is it become blasé to even consider about it?
No,
Consider it.
I think we look at it differently. It's not, we don't look at it as a transformation, right? So if we take a look at the Invisible Man, right? I think sometimes that trope kind of gets locked in with that being able to get away with whatever. What does that do to us? What does that bring out in us? I think the animalistic nature that's within that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde wanted to highlight, I think they find that in other ways.
Okay.
Okay.
And who is it? Sorry, Jinshu said there were some that will argue that Jekyll and Hyde was about addiction as well. Absolutely. Addiction to both power and, of course, he was a doctor and addiction to medication. At the time that this came out, obviously there was opium epidemics that were going on. And of course, there were doctors who were addicted to morphine or doctors who were addicted to laudanum and doctors who were experimenting with drugs and doing stuff like that. Because, when you're at the forefront of the field, you can do things like this. Ultimately, it's about, and it can definitely be metaphorical for whatever is ailing society at the time, whether it's sexual repression or it's addiction or it's, however they decide to depict Hyde and how Hyde wants to, how he wants to act out against me. Does he kill prostitutes? Does he kill the rich? Does he prey on the poor? Does he attack the people who have vilified it, that attack his perceived enemies? Shit like that. So
I wonder if the reason we don't see it as much now is because there's so many like story constraints on it. Because if you look at a vampire, vampires can come from different lores, different backgrounds. You can depict vampires in many different ways. And same thing with kind of like werewolves. But with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you have to have like the scientist. They have to create something.
Not necessarily. Because take a look at The Mask. That's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type story.
Okay, done purely comedy. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I mean, I can see that, and that's a twist, but maybe that's the reason why, aside from The Mask, why we don't see that story maybe as much, because it's like as soon as we see somebody, I'm going to drink this to become better, we automatically, oh, this is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Right.
Versus when you can watch a vampire film, you can watch a vampire film and never think of Dracula.
Yeah, because I mean that's kind of the beauty part about vampire films is that Dracula was a monster within a subset of monsters. Whereas
vampires were the monster. Dracula happened to was just a powerful vampire.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Whereas Dr.
The
Jekyll,
Wolfman was
right.
Gotcha.
Where Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, he is the monster, and he is the only set of that monster.
True.
So to getting into that story without it being a blatant Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, which is something that a lot of people try to, we want to do this story, but we want to do it a little different. That's, not as overt. That's not as, in your face. And maybe they're trying to be, subdue the fact that that's the story they're trying to tell.
And you see, that's interesting because you were saying, whereas Dracula is a subset of the vampire, and then you have Dracula, and then Wolfman. Lon Chaney, you got Wolfman, a subset, but the curse, lycanthropy,
right?
And it's passed from individual to individual. So he is the one, but and if you bite somebody else, he spreads it. So he's a subset of the curse. But then you have like you said, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but also the Invisible Man, who is not a subset of anything, is a man who changed himself, and you can actually see. The same thing was happening to the Invisible Man. Like, how many horror Invisible Man movies did we get? Or it was used as a trope. It was used as a trope in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It was a horror film in Hollow Man, but I didn't feel like an Invisible Man movie.
No, it just felt like it was just another horror movie about somebody who is an Invisible Man.
And, because he wasn't running amok in public. He was trapped in a lab. So.
That's what the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, I think, needs to do is figure out different ways to tell that story without it being overtly,
like the new Blumhouse Invisible Man,
right?
Which was excellent. That movie was amazing.
So it's like I feel like the story is there, but you're right. If you make it in a way that it's very subvert, like we're talking about, like The Mask, because I love The Mask. Mask is a funny film on it, and up until you just mentioned it, I never thought of it as a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde version. But you're right. So if you do something like that where it's very subvert, I think it could be very successful.
Yeah, you got to find a different way to tell that story.
Absolutely.
What was it? Hang on a second. What was the name of that? There was another one that was really, really well done. I thought it was the Robert De Niro one where.
Well, De Niro did Frankenstein.
No. I mean, he did Frankenstein, yes, but that's not what I'm talking about. There's one where I think he's got his daughter, and his daughter is dealing with somebody who's like an invisible friend, but it turns out.
Hide and Seek. It was him and Dakota Fanning.
Right.
Yeah.
That was another Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde-ish type story that they were able to kind of tell a similar thing, but they were able to use mental health as
they play into the dissociative identity. Yeah,
exactly.
On that, yeah. So, but this is actually something we've been.
That's an excellent point, John. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Gene. That's an interesting point because the Jekyll and Hyde motif, that idea has given way to an increased understanding of psychology,
right,
and the dissociative identity disorder. So we see a lot of that, of like multiple personalities, stuff like this. So maybe it's simply transformed. It's transformed into that or given way to that. So we don't need to go back to Jekyll and Hyde.
Right.
We have the real deal, dissociative identity disorder, with, however that presents, like movies like Splice or movies like Split
yeah.
and Glass. Yeah. Exactly. So in that respect, maybe that's where it went.
I mean, it could be if you just take out the actual formula part of it, that's a scientific create something thing, and maybe just have it's always there. It's just part of the mind, right. Which to me makes it more terrifying because you look at Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, it's like, well, he took a serum and went bad. Maybe he shouldn't have taken a serum. Whereas with mental health, you can't help what your brain does.
Right.
Unless you can argue that he was always Hyde and it was psychosomatic, that drinking the serum or whatever it was, taking whatever he took, simply allowed him to give in to what he really wanted to be.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the animalistic side of man. Even if you take civilization away, that's what man will become.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. But actually, I want to ask the audience. We've been talking about the Jekyll and Hyde motif. What are your thoughts of it? Do you think that somebody could come out with another Jekyll and Hyde type film, or maybe they have to do it a different way? What are your thoughts on just the Jekyll and Hyde motif as a whole? So let us know in the comments below or email us at weekendhorror@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
So, see, we had like a good discussion and stuff like that. I love talking about the philosophy of films, and then we got this fucking next film.
I don't want to. Do I have to? I already sense the hate in the audience.
Just take and run with it, dude. We've all been there.
They're already talking about it.
Pass the football. God damn it. Next up is the most amazing film ever, if you like terrible films.
Now they're never going to believe you.
No, they're never going to believe me. 2011 gave us the shit show that is Scream 4. Directed by Wes Craven, and I hate to say that. Written by Kevin Williamson. What he was thinking, I have no idea. Starring David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Emma Roberts, Hayden Panettiere, and a whole bunch of other people who are glad they did the film, but wish people would stop talking about it. All right, so on the 15th anniversary of the original massacre, the high school students, I forget what their names are. It doesn't really matter. Ghostface comes back, kills people, and it turns out that brings Sidney back to, because they just wanted to have Sidney back. They had Neve Campbell. Got to have Neve Campbell. It's got to be Scream 4. God, I hate this movie. So Neve Campbell comes back to try to figure out who Ghostface is. And oh my God, can you believe it? It's her sister.
It wasn't her sister.
Doesn't matter. It was her cousin.
Some blood relative.
It was her no. Well, I mean, that's not even as bad. It was her cousin because she couldn't get internet famous because Sydney was already famous.
She was somehow the cousin of a famous person couldn't figure out how to get famous without being a fucking killer.
without killing the girl who was famous in her way.
Which, oddly enough, she got famous because she is the niece of a famous person.
Or niece or cousin?
Or is she cousin? I thought it was niece.
Who the fuck is she?
You know what? Exactly. For fuck's sake.
Okay, hang on a sec. So that was Emma Roberts was Jill. Okay, so who is Jill? Who is Sydney's cousin?
Yeah,
Sydney's cousin.
No, yeah, it's cousin. Yeah, cousin.
Yeah, but she's Julia Roberts' niece, right? Or also cousin. That's what I meant.
She is Julia Roberts' niece, which is the only reason that girl has a career.
Yeah, so it's like she got jealous off of someone else's fame because she couldn't get famous, despite the fact that she got famous off of someone else's fame.
See, that's why the film was meta.
See how deep it goes.
Yeah, that's the meta. That's the meta shit. Where are my fucking boots? This movie was so bad.
Okay, the problem with Scream 4, obviously, the film was contrived from the fucking start.
Yes, didn't they end up changing the? They changed the killer like halfway through the filming of it, didn't they? Like
no,
was it originally supposed to be?
There were two killers.
Well, no, I understand that, but I thought that from what I had read that it wasn't originally going to be Jill. It was supposed to be somebody else. And they said,
I had heard many rumors, but that was one of the big things about it when because of all the hype, many fake scripts were out there on the internet. So, and because I don't like spoilers to my horror films, I pretty much avoided all of them. I heard some rumors here and there that because there were leaks, there were changes, but that could be stuff that we all know how studios act, especially with marketing. They will do anything to hype something up. It's like, oh, it was going to be this, but we had to do a last minute change. Oh, I was like, oh, I wonder what it is. And then people, whatever. Yeah. Horror fans will glom onto that. I would say Scream fans will glom onto that because they want to see, what it was and hear about what it could have been, so they can have discussions like this. But the film itself is contrived from the start. When the concept of Scream, the original Scream, the meta horror, turning the genre on its head. Killing off your most famous star within the first 5 minutes, okay? And then subverting every trope. That was brilliant. That was Wes Craven's, that was as brilliant as Nightmare on Elm Street. And then, of course, Scream 2, I thought, actually, in my opinion, is actually better than the first one. I thought it was a fantastic follow-up. But then Scream 3, we're pushing it. Then this one, so many years have gone by. At this point, the original Scream came out in 1996. This movie came out in 2011. Okay, so was it 14 years? Because the film is set on the 15th anniversary. Right. So technically, 15 years after the first film. Society has changed. Right. The demographic that watched Scream is now 15 years down the road. This new demographic we've got. The internet has changed. It changed the scope from 1996 to 2011. Fuck, the internet is a bigger thing. Internet fame is a growing deal. And we kids have a complete new mentality, especially when it comes to horror films, because it's been meta for so long. What do we do? Then, of course, reboot mentality. I mean, all of this packed into one movie, way too fucking much. Not to mention a horde of so many teen stars. Fucking hell, did not need it. No, every time I turn around, it was like, oh, I know him. Oh, that's the brother of a famous person. Oh, that's the cousin of a famous person. Oh, holy shit. She was on Heroes. And, like I said, contrived from the fucking start.
Yeah, the whole thing was terrible.
is the climate is different now, because when the original Scream came out, slashers were, the genre itself was dying. We're getting bad sequels and stuff like that, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation, all this other kind of stuff. So we're with a cusp of it. So when Scream came out, it was like, oh, this is a fresh take. It's a fresh film. It actually prolonged the slasher genre. The problem is in 2011, slasher is not the primary horror genre anymore, and it hasn't been for a while. You get right now the tail end of like torture porn stuff, like Hostel and Saw is going on. You're getting possession films and paranormal supernatural stuff that is big in 2011. So all of a sudden, this film comes out of nowhere and is like, we want to be meta and reinvigorate the slasher genre. And people are like, well, who fucking cares? Because no one's making slasher films right now.
Right. And see, I think that's where the big miss was. They could have been meta, and instead of, trying to rehash slasher of the 80s, why couldn't they have gone with a torture porn of the 90s? I think that would have been so much better, seeing as how that's where the meta conversation needed to happen.
Yeah. About that the conversation should have been on the state of horror.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Gotcha.
That would have made for such a better film, and then you could have still had the Jill being the bad guy. You could have still had those characters in there, but now it could have been more of like the next film that we have coming up. It could have been more of a hostile type thing. It could have been more of that torture porn type thing. You know what I mean? There's so many ways that this film could have been better, more relevant to the time, and ultimately just more successful. But
And instead of just like basically latching on to the name. Hey, you remember Scream, that movie that came out 10, 15 years ago? Well, here's another one with some of the same people in it. Check it out. If this movie was called anything else, no one would fucking care.
Right.
I mean, it's one thing that needed to be pointed out, especially this one, especially with the fact that we are getting another one, that we are getting a Scream 5. Neve Campbell and Neve Campbell and her entourage are returning for it. But a film like this with Scream 4, and now 2011 is now 2021. It is now 10 years later, 25 years since the first movie. A quarter of a century has passed since the very first Scream, when we're going to get Scream 5. And 4 literally collapsed under its own weight. In my personal opinion, the franchise I love Scream. It will always hold a place of honor for me. As far as like horror films, it's in the top 10. It was an amazingly subversive film, and I loved Wes Craven for it. Scream 4, that the franchise has collapsed under its own weight. It is a black dwarf. That is what it has been. That is where Scream 4 left it, honestly. I mean, where can you possibly go with a franchise that became number one so bloated that it actually it actually consumed itself?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people can say that about like the massive, like that seems to be the curse of the horror film franchise, is the fact that they are franchise. Like if you put out a good horror film, you're expected to have 9 or 10 of them.
Yeah, like the Freddy, Jason,
yeah, exactly.
Michael, all of those.
Fucking Saw, even Hostel. They had 3 Hostel, and they finally said, "Okay, cool. I think we beat this one to death. Let's stop doing."
Well, I think they realized they couldn't compete with Saw, because Saw cornered the market with Halloween. If it's Halloween, it must be Saw.
Right.
Well, if it's like Halloween, it must be Hostel. No, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah, that's yeah. It just wasn't. And see, if Scream, if it stayed relevant with the times. So let's say we had like a meta torture porn one in 2011, and then for the one that comes out this year, if it was like an intelligent horror film and it was meta on that, that could be interesting. Something that comes out every couple of years that showcases the current state of the horror genre. But even still right now, slashers aren't big. There are slashers that have come out, and there's some good ones that have come out, stood out here and there, like, say, Summer of '84. But maybe if they wait, I think if the new Halloween takes off and we start seeing more slasher films start coming back, maybe it could warrant another Scream film after a couple of years. Mm-hmm. But even then, slashers aren't big.
Well, I see the obviously the success of Halloween. David Gordon Green, I think, is an excellent director, and he did not try to reinvent the wheel. He knew what worked from like decades of of Halloween films. He knows what works. He knows what fans want, and he gives fans what they want while paying homage to Carpenter and the things he came for him, and just bringing it up with the times. Obviously, the characters are 40 years older. We're going to play him 40 years older. That's the reality of it, and we're going to ditch the supernatural bullshit. We're going to go straight, honest to God, or honest to God slasher. The reason that works is equal parts honest filmmaking and nostalgia. Okay. We love what works. if we could get that with a Friday the 13th, which we did not get with the Michael Bay reboot, which is what we did not get with the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot. There's a reason those films didn't work. That the filmmaker was not honest. They tried to reinvent the wheel. With Scream, I fear they're going to do the exact same thing. They're going to try and reinvent the wheel. It's going to be some meta, analysis of intelligent horror and nostalgia horror. Let's get back to basics and look at why we're getting back to basics, because the current shit doesn't work anymore. And what? I have no fucking clue. I have no idea where they're going to go with it, especially without at least Wes Craven at the helm, because at least Wes Craven, it was in his wheelhouse. This is what Wes Craven does. It had that Wes Craven touch.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And that's where Scream has its problem, because with Halloween doesn't have to be meta. It's just a straight, these are the tropes of the slasher film. We're going to model. I love the cinematography of Halloween too. I love it. We're going to have modern cinematography and something like that for the audience today. Take that package and we're going to roll with it. But Scream has to be meta. It just has. That's the franchise name. And because it has to be meta, it has to look at what's going on right now. There's just so much onto it. It's impossible to keep it going.
Where I know before we move on, where do you guys predict? I mean, like I said before, in my eyes, the franchise is dead. Sydney, Sydney. I love Sydney Prescott. I think she's badass. Sydney Prescott is no Laurie Strode. She's not.
No, because Sydney Prescott's still alive.
Laurie's still alive.
Yeah, after you go retcon that shit. But if you look at the original 6, she's not.
Well, technically, it's not. Is it? No, it's not technically a retcon, because they picked up from the first one, and just basically, I guess they retconned 2 through Infinite.
Yeah, they retconned the rest of them.
And said that none of those actually happened. This is a direct sequel to the first film.
Yeah.
So, which I loved. So, but nonetheless, I love it. She's no Laurie Strode. Let's face it, your mom was no Sharon Stone. But that's right, it just popped in my fucking head.
Yeah.
Let's face it. Let's face facts, Sydney. Your mother was no Sharon Stone. Matthew Lillard was brilliant. I saw a concept poster that there may have been no confirmation, because there was no confirmation that Stu was dead. That we know Billy died because he got shot in the fucking head. But there was no legit confirmation that Stu died. He just got hit with the television.
Have you seen Matthew Lillard lately?
I saw a concept photo of Matthew Lillard.
He looks weird.
His face all fucked up, like scarred and stitched up, like from being stitched up and everything. And it was just a concept deal. It was fan done. It was like if Stu Macher returned.
Yeah.
Or at least played with that. I think that would actually be pretty cool. But I have no idea where they're going to go with this fucking movie. With 5 thoughts, anybody?
Look, this. Okay.
Maybe the reason we can't think of shit is the reason why it's popular.
I think what they need to do with this one, if I am Nev Campbell, this needs to be my final hurrah, because she's getting into her she's late 40s, early 50s, right? She's getting up there, and this is really the only thing that she's known for. She's done tons of other stuff, but most people can't be like, oh yeah, Nev Campbell was in
that and Party of 5.
Party of 5, exactly.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Come on now, let's get rid of this. It's time to.
Well, aside from, she's done a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
She's done a bunch, but in terms of
the next Scream is set for 2022. But she's done a ton of shit, but Scream's the biggest.
Yeah, that's the role that she will always be known for in it. Make it her last hurrah. Maybe she's just, first of all, it's going to be a fat paycheck.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And I can't harp on anybody who takes a role for money. I can't. If the numbers are big enough.
Oh yeah, you know what? All those people talk about, they only did it for a paycheck. You goddamn right. It's not like fucking Tom Cruise does Mission Impossible 18 because he fucking loves a movie. No, because they pay him millions of dollars to do so.
Tom Cruise might be the exception because he loves doing those stunts.
That and he's fucking crazy, and he likes to hang off the sides of.
Y'all motherfuckers are focusing on the wrong part of the story.
No, say sure.
Okay,
sure,
fine.
Yes.
Tom Cruise
yes.
didn't do The Mummy. Tom Cruise didn't do The Mummy because it was a great movie.
No, that was a fat paycheck. But he's not
Exactly.
doing. Although I will admit, Tom Cruise has got me. I have such mixed emotions. I have very confusing erections when I think about Tom Cruise and his career because I fucking love Top Gun. It's an amazing '80s film, but now we're getting Top Gun Maverick. Then I see that I was like, why? You put that old man in a fucking like new jet, and then I see the trailer and I'm like, huh.
Yeah, it was like I never knew I wanted that.
It's like I never knew I wanted it. But then
I still don't want it.
Then I'm sitting here going, wait a minute. That's not CGI. Tom Cruise is flying a fucking fighter jet. Because that's why he does that movie. Because literally Tom Cruise walked up and said, hey, I'm Tom Cruise. I'm trained to fly fighter jets.
Yeah, like I've watched the behind scenes of it, and I love flying. I've always wanted to be a pilot. I did get a chance to fly a plane a couple months ago, and like story-wise, I'm pretty sure the story is going to be average at best.
Yep.
But if you want to see Tom Cruise fly a fucking like F-18 and an F-14, because it's really him. He really has a pilot's license, and he owns a P-51 that he flies himself. And it's like, yeah, that's really him launching off an aircraft carrier, because I feel like with Tom Cruise, he has a bucket list and he has the money and star power that he's just like, I always want to be a fighter pilot. Let me call the U.S. fucking Navy so I can fly a jet. And the U.S. Navy.
He's got that L. Ron Hubbard money.
Yeah.
It's so weird. He's the only actor I've ever heard of that I know that I can conceive of. Because as actors, and I myself as an actor, we take roles, and the role we take is obviously somebody. Like I've played different roles, but I'll never be those jobs. I've played gangsters, I've played lawyers, I've played doctors. I'll never be those things. Tom Cruise actually does. So when Tom Cruise is a lawyer, no doubt he studied law. He probably has a law degree, and so that's why he was so effective in whatever, whenever he's playing a lawyer, he like exactly what was it? Color of Money. He learned from pool sharks and he himself became a pool shark. He is what he plays. There you go.
Absolutely. If we had the technology to go to Mars right now, he would have a movie on Mars.
He probably is a qualified fucking astronaut. What the fuck? Holy shit.
Even if he isn't, I still would like to launch him in outer space.
Never to return. Oh, Jessica G says, "Oh look, it's old as fuck Nev Campbell and an even older Courtney Cox. And my gosh, we got the psychopathic lunatic David Arquette. I can't wait to never see this turd."
Yeah, I'm with you, Jessica G. So actually, that brings us to our call to action. If we're anticipating Scream 5, I know you said it already, but I wanted to say it anyways.
I am.
I am not.
I pulled up. Who's it? Okay, this is being dual directed. Matt Bettinelli, Olpin, and Tyler Gillette. Written by James Vanderbilt and Guy Busey. So Kevin Williamson, obviously, Wes Craven, rest in peace. Kevin Williamson is nowhere near this. It's based on his characters. We got the Holy Trilogy the Holy Trinity is returning. David Arquette, Nev Campbell, and Courtney Cox. It's a relaunch of the franchise. A direct sequel to Scream 4. And Roger L. Jackson and Marley Shelton are also returning to their original roles. Oh, I don't recognize. Oh, yeah, one's a cop, and I have no idea who this other person is. Fuck it. Roger L. Jackson. He voiced Ghostface. And then one of the cops from Scream 4 is returning and adding a whole bunch of names I do not know.
You're talking about fodder?
Yeah, I have a young woman who returns to her old hometown only to encounter horrific murder cases connected to a notorious mass serial killer. That is, could you be any more vague?
Right.
Oh, well. We're not going to get a lot of comments about that one, other than, Jessica G just being like, fuck this movie.
Nope. When it comes out a year later, we'll be talking about it on the podcast.
Yep. Yeah.
Fucking hell. But definitely, just either send us emails. I don't know. weekendhorror@gmail.com. Alex still loves reading them. is one of the things he really digs doing.
So
And,
one thing he's only gonna the only thing he's gonna have time for here soon.
this is true.
Changing diapers and reading emails.
Hey, that's on him. He chose that.
Did he though? Did he? I feel like maybe it was a Parent Trap type thing.
Oh, holy shit! Oh, and I totally spaced. The Friendly Antinatalist has joined, and also, you know what? Something I need to do. Friendly Antinatalist is one of our amazing patrons and is now a moderator.
Yay!
I need to give her a wrench, so she has a spanner. I see Dark Theories has shown up. Excellent. Good to see you. I think we had some new people. Oh, Chris Durham Music Channel. Thank you so much for popping by. We just got done with Scream 4, so hopefully the pain didn't last too long. And make sure I didn't miss anybody else new, so I can say hi to them. Nope.
You did.
Looks. And of course, John Rapp. John Rapp has entered the arena. Everybody say hi in the John Rapp way.
I did.
I'm stealing that from Team Skeptic. A plethora. Do you have a plethora of middle fingers?
What is a plethora?
I don't know.
Well, maybe I don't have the same intellect as you, but perhaps you're mad at taking that on me.
Yes, El Guapo. Oh, what did you give it to? I don't see the middle fingers. Where are they?
Right there. It says a plethora of middle fingers.
Oh, you didn't put the emoji in there though.
No, I didn't. No.
That's okay. All right. Well, let's jump on to our last film. Okay, let's get away from the pain of Scream 4 and the fact that nobody's anticipating Scream 5. Sorry, no one. But we'll get to this one, and actually not a bad one at all. Not a bad one to close out on. Released April 17th, 2015. We have the supernatural horror film or video meeting footage for, I don't fucking know, Unfriended. Directed by Leo Gabriadze, and I will say this, produced by Timur Bekmambetov, a Russian producer and director. You should be familiar with some of his stuff. Day Watch, Night Watch, and Nine. The CGI animation with Elijah Wood. Like that. It was an excellent movie. I'm a big fan of Timur. And written by Nelson Greaves and starring Shelley Hennig, Moses Storm, Renee Olstead, Will Peltz, Jacob Wysocki, Courtney Halverson, and Heather Sossaman. And
is she related to Shannon Sossaman?
I don't know because there's no link in her name. So she has no page for me to go to.
So we don't know.
How are we supposed to stalk you, Heather Sossaman?
So the film, for those who haven't seen it, the film centers around a group of high school students that are in a Skype conversation that happens to be haunted by a recently deceased student who was bullied and committed suicide and is now taking revenge against her tormentors.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. This film it was 2015, and obviously pre-pandemic.
It was early.
It was early, yes. And the idea of, the Skype, if you mass Skype meetings or Zoom meetings or whatever. And then, of course, the idea of the killer being there. And, you see it happening on your screen and you can't tear yourself away. And then we're forced to watch this. It's like, I can't do anything. And then you're trying to warn other people and it's all fucking crazy. I imagine that this very, very cheap movie seemed really good on paper. And it surprised me. It was better than I thought it was going to be, but it lost its video meeting horror. I mean, come on.
I get the concept, especially with a lot of things. They were already kind of doing the whole Skype meetings and all that shit, and the FaceTime had become really, really big, and everything kind of moving to that. It's it's like the evolution of technology went from talking to people on the telephone to texting. Now we're back to looking at somebody talking to somebody on a telephone, but only if I can FaceTime or do the face-to-face Zoom or Skype bullshit. So I guess I can understand this, the evolution of the horror film trying to get that technological thing going because we've got to keep up with the times, right?
I mean, yeah, I see this as kind of like a sidebar of the found footage genre.
Yeah.
Because you have the traditional found footage with Blair Witch, and then you have like some like surveillance footage with say Paranormal Activity, and now you get in a Skype call on it. And I like the story, and it has some great kill. I love the blender kill in it. It has some great kills in it. But the novelty, where I think it would work better as a short film.
That's what it is. The novelty wore off very quickly.
And I mean, they put a lot of effort, like the browsers and stuff like that looks real. You have like a tabs open. They really put a lot of like emphasis in the production design on how to design the browsers and all this other kind of stuff in the video chat. But the thing is you're watching everything from the same angle constantly. At least with Paranormal Activity, you had surveillance footage, and then you have like the home cam footage, or in Blair Witch, they're moving around and stuff like that. So it's a change of pace. When you're seeing like the same rooms from the same angles, like constantly, it gets old. And I was actually watching this thing about a producer he sold quite a few like big name films, and he's like, with the pandemic right now, people are doing all these pandemic films, and we're looking for the exact opposite because people are tired of being in their homes. People are tired of Zoom calls and all those other kind of. So they want grand sets and grand areas that they can't go to right now.
What was that horror film? Was it a South Korean horror film about? It was a zombie apocalypse type thing, but it was done. What?
Oh, you're talking about the kid trapped in his apartment,
right?
And he's communicating with the girl across the way,
right?
That reason, I know. Actually, Angela clued me into that one. I didn't even know it had hit Netflix. She said you've got to see this. So, what the heck was the name of it?
Can't remember the name of it either.
I've heard of it because I wanted to watch it, but
see, I feel like that is the perfect style. That is what Unfriended brought us to, right?
Hashtag alive.
That's it. Hashtag alive.
Okay, yeah.
So Unfriended got us to hashtag alive, which I think is a really good way to do what Unfriended was trying to do.
Yeah, because if you actually mixed, like I have no issues with a Zoom call in a film or anything like that. If you actually mixed like a Zoom call with maybe you have a Zoom call with one of the neighbors, so you can actually switch out of the computer and you're looking through a window. Like everything can still take place like in an apartment, so you see it from the main character's perspective.
Exactly.
You're watching the window and they're going up and down the stairs, and all of a sudden strange stuff happens. That I think would work.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what Alive is. Hashtag Alive. That's what it's almost exactly what they do. Yeah. So they took the what was good about Unfriended. They took what was good about it, and they also took what was good about it, but got redundant quickly, and then they built a film around that, and then changed what needed to be changed. I think it was a much better execution of what Unfriended was trying to do. Not that Unfriended was a terrible movie, but you're right. It kind of got us like, all right, man, we're tired of seeing the same, video call for the past, hour and 45 or however long it was the runtime of the thing, like hour 25, hour 30, some shit like that.
This one, it was like 83. It was 83 minutes.
Yeah. Come on, let's do something different. At least show one of them going to the refrigerator to get a soda.
Well, you say something. What to be said is like this. It is interesting that for us and the experience we have watching horror films and what we're very familiar with, and then of course we get a movie like this and we can see the kind of trope wears off very quickly. It's kind of like even me at a point in Blair Witch, I was getting sick to my stomach because of the motion of the camera in the theater. Mm-hmm. So and that's just where we're at now. The generation I think that this movie was made for is obviously not our generation, the one that the horror that we grew up watching. The film only cost $1 million and it grossed 64.1. That's not bad. Okay, that's not a giant success. They didn't hit 100 mil, but that's not bad. A $64 million return on a $1 million investment. I'm not gonna bitch at that. At least it's gonna get you a sequel. Okay, maybe even a trilogy if the sequel pulls its weight.
Right.
But honestly, I think this was a perfect because at the time 2015, the one thing that we see going on with the internet is the advent of the biggest thing is the advent of esports.
Yep.
And what this felt very much to me was a horror film for the e-watching crowd. The idea of watching people on the internet doing other things, very much like esports. People will pay money to watch someone play a game, or people will pay money to watch someone do something else, or what, like YouTube. I will become a member. I will pay a person money to sit there and watch them do something else. And this felt very much like a horror film made specifically for that crowd that grew up into the generation of this part of the internet is all they know. So this is a horror movie made for them. So it may have been a little, maybe I'm too old school. I was born in 1980. Friday the 13th was released the year I was born. So this is, so far down, I don't know. Maybe I was kind of like, I like my horror this way. Maybe this is just, like a horror for the generation after me. This is, millennial horror. And it's a style that I just don't really kind of dig because there's no hallmarks to what I know, which is why I kind of like, I was like, it's not bad. It could definitely have been worse. But for me as well, it wore off very quickly. But, the kids, they loved it.
Yeah, maybe it's the fact of with kids growing up with YouTube already exists. You can tell kids like, we're older than Google, and they'll be, oh my God, you must be so old. I couldn't imagine life without Google.
Right.
Oh, and thanks you, Joe.
I said we all are.
We are.
All of us are.
Yeah, but I didn't need that like mirror in my face.
Hey,
like,
JL.
No, don't.
We're old.
Eugene, continue.
We're older. It's okay. Hey, wait a minute, JL. I can actually outdo what Eugene just said. We're older than in-home internet.
Yeah, all of us are.
Boom. Please continue.
We're older. We're older than no, we're not. Actually, no. Oh, thank God. I almost said that we're older than in-home gaming consoles, but we're technically not.
Oh yeah, just barely though.
Just barely.
But maybe 5 years.
Thank you, ColecoVision.
But going back to it is so the onset of things like YouTube and FaceTime and all this other kind of stuff. We remember the time before that, so it's still novelty. We can take advantage of whatever. But with the next generation that comes up, they've grown up with smartphones. They've grown up with YouTube. They've grown up on the internet. Like, I couldn't imagine being in high school, like FaceTiming people or Skyping call people, but I know teenagers do that today. Like, that's how they hang out and stuff. And you can get a 6-year-old that can figure out your smartphone faster than you can. True. Because it's what they grew up with. So I would actually love to hear an opinion from somebody of like the next generation of what they actually thought about the film. It's not our official CTA, but I think that would just be interesting because maybe somebody in their 20s, or if it's somebody 15, 20, 25, they may have actually appreciated the film even more because of what they're used to.
There's some interesting stuff going on in the chat right here. So other than Jessica G wanting to hear me constantly say titties, and
what
of
was
course,
that? What was that? You cut out there for a second. What did you say?
I said the alternate word. Charlie Welch does mention The Night Eats the World, which was a French film, very similar to kind of I would say the same kind of premise as #Alive. I thought it was a guy goes to sleep, wakes up, and it's the fucking apocalypse. I really enjoyed The Night Eats the World. I thought it was very well. The editing on it was very, very sharp, and the cinematography was great. John Rapp told the story as to why he gets the middle finger every time he pops in. Let's see. Dark Theory says #Alive was really fun. Sweet Home is also insanely. Yes, I agree. Is insanely fun too. If you haven't seen the series, it's worth the watch. Okay, so where is it? PhD Tony brought something up. So he says, so paying people money so you can watch them do stuff is a recent innovation. He's being sarcastic there. It's not a recent innovation. Obviously, and he mentions when were strippers invented again? And they obviously, prostitution is a thing, or, strippers is actually an old thing. Burlesque shows, obviously good dating back to, France. But
why is PhD Tony asking that question? He knows the answer. He was there.
Yeah, well, yeah, he did invent it. I mean, he created all of this. But the idea of there's an interaction there. There is a level of connection because you are personally there watching the person do this. When PhD Tony decided to create, strip clubs and strippers and do these things, he said, the person's going to be watching them there. They can get close to each other. They can interact as, human, and then he can give her money, and that's it. You're good to go. But in this case, I'm sitting in front of a computer screen, watching another person sitting in front of a computer screen doing that when I could be doing that myself, but I'm choosing to pay money to sit here and watch them do something I could be doing myself.
See, you know what I would have thought this movie would have been better had it been like an online film that you had to sit down and watch. You know what I mean? Kind of bring you into the same atmosphere instead of sitting down in a movie theater. And again, they made a shit ton of money off of it, so whatever they did. Obviously, they're doing the right thing, but I probably would have appreciated it more had it been, hey, here's this new film experience, $10 Zoom call, $5 Zoom call. You get the stream key, you actually get to participate and watch the film that way. I think that would have been kind of a cool way to have done this film.
That could have. Well, what I wanted to go back to what JL was saying, and the thing is this: if you are in the top 1% in anything in the world, people will pay money to watch you do your craft, regardless of any kind of game, anything like that. People will always, because it's always impressive, no matter what it is on it. And I mean, and it's just video games have gotten to the point where people do speed runs and you have these $1 million competitions because these are the best in the world.
Yeah, it's true.
True. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And my mother used to always tell me, "Oh, don't play video games. That's never going to turn into a successful career."
Yeah, you tell that to the kid who won $2 million playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
But who was that guy who rented out the Superdome? Tell it to that guy.
Yeah.
Times they are a changing.
But I mean, the level of commitment they have, because I know a couple of like professional gamers, and like they know the amount of frames it takes to do a move.
Yeah.
Like to that level on it. Like it's wow.
It's wild. It really does. And of course, Unfriended being an interesting idea. I mean, obviously I've seen much worse horror films. Cthulhu Mansion still exists, but in this particular case, the film did get a sequel. It got Unfriended Dark Web, which obviously, because if we're going to go internet, we got to go dark web, because that's where all the scary shit is. Actually, there is some really scary shit on the dark web. Don't go there. but they, obviously Unfriended Dark Web. But I was curious. This is kind of our CTA. What do people prefer? Do people prefer the first one or the sequel? Because the first one was supernatural horror, and the sequel is, if I remember correctly, the sequel did not really go there. I see. That's how fucked up. I don't even really remember it that much.
Yeah, the sequel I think was the one where it was more like an organization.
Yes, it was. It was a group of cyber criminal hackers that they accidentally, because they find a laptop that's hooked into their shit and hooked into the dark web and this criminal organization, and they then the real people start coming after them.
Yeah.
And stuff. So did people dig the supernatural side in the first one, or did people dig the more realistic thing, seeing shit on the internet you shouldn't see and people tracking your IP and coming and doing horrible shit to you? Let us know in the comments or in the live chat or weekinhorror@gmail.com. We don't get enough emails from people. Just let us know.
Some would say we get too many emails.
I don't think we get enough emails.
We can always use more emails.
We can always use more emails, especially those ones that go ping, you have a new patron. I feel so filthy.
You should take a shower. Take a shower. Yeah.
I feel so fucking dirty.
I think your punishment should be watching Unfriended. No. Your punishment should be watching Scream 4.
My punishment,
Scream 4.
No, my punishment should be to buy a movie ticket on opening day of Scream 5.
No, because then that just reinforces the people who made Scream 5.
This is true. Yeah. I need to go with that. No, I need to sit through Cthulhu Mansion again.
No, what you need to do is watch that freaking zombie movie I sent you like 2 years ago.
Oh no, no! You know what I need to? I need to watch Ninth Gate again. That's my punishment. Because I haven't watched. I've only watched the movie once, and I can't. I promise I never watch it again. I will not justify that fucking movie. That's my punishment. Watching Ninth Gate. That's the terrible punishment. Fucking hell. Well, I wash off the dirtiness of that disgusting shill I just did. Eugene has our trivia question tonight. this is really, really cool. And I made it a really, really easy one. Someone's going to get it right off because the prize tonight is a sticker. And it's a new sticker that the artist, Joshua, I forgot his last name. Olsen, sorry. What was I thinking? Olgen. But anyway, Joshua Olsen.
A big German, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. But Joshua Olsen, who does the artwork for our limited edition t-shirts. And remember, the current one is going out at the end of April. This will be the last month that you can get a limited edition number 2 t-shirt before we drop the third one this summer. But he did a little gift for us and gave us a very cool sticker. And or give us a new, just a free artwork. He's like, hey, check this out. It'll make an excellent sticker. And I want to give one to y'all.
Hang on a second. Keep talking up the sticker.
Actually, you know what? Fuck this. No, it's not going to be a sticker. I'm going to put it on a coffee mug.
Okay.
Oh.
Yep.
I'm going to put it on a coffee mug, and I'm going to send this image on a coffee mug to the winner of tonight's. Because the sticker's kind of like, where are you going to put? You can put it on your car. It's going to wear away. No, I want you to see it on your coffee mug when you're like, this is going to be fantastic. Johnny's going to pull it up. You're going to get to see it. It was something free he sent us, and so I'm giving it. I want to put it out as something cool, and it's going to be on the shop too. But we're going to give away a coffee mug with a new Week in Horror logo, limited edition logo. Maybe. Courtesy of our in-house artist, Joshua Olsen, who is really freaking amazing.
Almost.
So I don't have anything else to say. I'm just gonna start repeating
there it
myself. Boom. Johnny brought it up on the screen. I think it's cool as hell. And it's just neat, it's campy, it's fun, it's kooky. And I want to put it on a coffee mug and I want to give it to you guys.
Is it
George,
creepy?
the winner of Mysterious and Spooky.
Yeah.
Altogether ooky. Come on, guys.
The
Come on.
Horror family.
That was so badly timed. Fuck, we're nerds.
Oh man.
Well, let's see who else is a horror nerd, and actually who's fastest on the fucking draw. Eugene, take it away. Give them their trivia question.
All right. The answer is not Tom Hanks.
The Burbs.
Just put that out there.
Just John Rapp got it out of the way. That's good to go.
Yeah.
So the trivia question is that the Anaconda took on what other cult favorite movie franchise in 2015? I'll say that again. The Anaconda took on what other cult favorite monster franchise in 2015?
We may or may not have already spoke about this one.
It is a pretty big franchise too.
Dark Theory says that reminds me of the Art on White Zombie albums. There's one of the reasons why I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Also, like who's that? Johnny, you would remember the guy who does that the racing car artwork.
Oh,
like the rat
Rat Fink style, yeah.
Yeah, Rat Fink style. It felt very much like that.
Yeah.
Very, very 90s. So
Lake Placid, Jinju.
Jinju. I'm so sorry, John Rapp. It was the franchise was Lake Placid. So Jinju, Chris Durham usually Lucille Ball. What the fuck? Anyway, yes, Jinju got it. Lake Placid Crocodiles. That was the franchise that Anaconda took on one time, and god damn, that movie was fucking bad.
That was.
Well, look who it is. Sarcasm has arrived, and he actually got the answer right. Sarcasm, excellent to see you. I'm glad you popped. Oh, I see. He was up there. Scream 4 twice back to back. No, that would be painful. That would be super painful.
He's still a human being, people.
Is he?
Yeah,
though?
I'm still. Yeah, this is the. Come on. Cruel and unusual. Congratulations to Jinju. You have won the new Week in Horror. Why did I point at the fucking screen? Well, no, they can see me. No, they can't see me. The damn picture's blocking me.
Yeah.
The new Week in Horror, I guess, limited edition logo will be on a coffee mug coming straight to you, Jinju. I do believe I have.
Dude, you need to make those into bowling shirts.
Oh, on little polos?
Yeah, like the little button-up bowling shirts.
That would be cute.
They're very Rat Fink.
And I think I have, Jinju, yes, I do. I have your shipping information. I will get this to you ASAP. I hope you love it.
That is awesome. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, Jinju. Is that it for us? Are we done? Are we done for the day?
That is it, homie. The
That's
pain
it.
has ended.
Well, I don't know about the pain, but the fun sure is over. That sucks.
This is true. It does kind of bum me out, I will admit. Yeah, it's been what are we? We're this episode 229. We're over the halfway mark of season 2. Okay, now we know what all. God, we're closing on the end of season 2 so fucking fast.
It's happening really quick, and then you're gonna be MIA for a while. What's that about?
I have to because I'm moving. I'm going.
But you could call in from the phone.
Just pop into the chat.
What I'm actually terrified of, and this is it's been awesome. And we have Johnny, who's amazing. We have Eugene, and we have Alex. You guys do an amazing job on the show, and I've been on the show every episode since the beginning. I'm not trying to brag on that, but I do think that we are strong enough, and you guys are solid enough, and we're all on the same page enough that I can take a show off, or maybe possibly 2 shows off, so I can move like that. I'm terrified that I'm going to freak out and panic, and I'm just going to be on the show. I'm just going to like hook up everything really, really fast so I can jump on. I don't know. It's like, okay, I'm going to like today I'm going to pack up all my shit, run up to Oklahoma, which is only like 3 hours. Run up to Oklahoma, set it all back up again, and then be like, okay, ready to go. Yeah. Okay, I need to take a show off anyway.
Alex, get off. I'm back.
My wife, Angela, would be so fucking pissed at me. She would like me to be able to take a break, but I love this. I love hanging out with you guys. I especially love hanging out with the fucking live chat. You guys are all absolutely amazing. We love seeing you guys every single week. It's always kind of bittersweet when a show ends, but that just means I get to write the next episode, which is fucking awesome. Which will be our 230th episode. Season 2, episode 30. So technically 52, 82 episodes?
Damn.
Sure.
82 episodes.
Wow. We're gonna have to plan the 100th episode.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fucking wild. Man. And obviously we could not do any of this without you guys. And yes, Peachy Tony was completely unaware of the Anaconda Lake Placid crossover. So screw you guys. That was a question.
I'm sorry that film exists. I am.
Really. Yeah.
You're aware of it now.
Yep. You'll be angry with us if you ever go watch it. Like, God damn it, those guys suck.
And just keep in mind, that was the end of the Anaconda franchise. It was not the end of the Lake Placid franchise.
Not the end of the Lake Placid franchise.
Yep.
Wasn't there 2 more films after that?
I think there was one. I think there was one after the crossover.
Oh, yeah. Direct to sci-fi.
Peachy Tony says, you would think you guys would be good at this by now. Ouch.
Wow.
And John Rapp says, I highly recommend a phone case. And we do have a phone case on Teespring. We actually do. I took the image from the limited edition number 2 shirt, turned it black and white, and I put that on a phone case on Teespring. So you actually can get it printed there with kind of like the Weekend Horror slasher logo across the top, just the WIH. So that is on Teespring. What do you guys think? Do you think this new picture would go good on a phone case as well?
Yeah, I mean, that thing works really well for small decal, cup, or phone case stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
Okay, cool. Thank you, John Rapp, for the recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And Dark Steve says, so I should put my shirt in a glass case. You just might need to. But then break it out, because when we do the live shows and you come to see us live, when you actually can get to see us live, we'll get to autograph them.
That's true.
So there you go. Oh, we should do autograph shirt giveaways.
By autograph, he means wipe her ass with it.
No.
DNA signing, I guess. Or...
we do that every week on the live show. We don't need to spread it.
That's right.
All right,
my mistake. All right, that brings us another episode of Week in the Horror. What the hell? My goodness, I need new glasses. And that brings another episode of Week in Horror to a close. Thank you all so much for listening, and we truly hope you enjoyed the show. Join us next week when we discuss Dark House, Silent Hill, The Hand, and Sea Fever. Boy, that sounds like a terrible, terrible time.
Actually, Sea Fever was really good.
No, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. Think about those names and kind of, you just let that percolate.
Wait, Dark House, Silent Hill, Bang. Oh, yeah.
It's one of those
lonely. I'm so lonely.
That's one of those happy. That's one of those happy accidents. We'd like to send a special shout out to our incredible patrons who have helped us make the show the success it has become. What is that first one there? They're all weird.
The friendly antinatalist.
That's the one. Joel Knows, Jeff Roberts, Dark Steve, Commander Darklight, Sir Chasm, Craft Tequila, Dr. Purcell, Galvar, the Hand of Zod, Mike Barrett, Jessica G, Kyrie, Alexis S, and Jose. Golly, that's my own freaking language. A lot of that one there too. Butcher that shit.
Jose Olalde.
There you are. Visit us at weekendhorror.net, where you can find links to all of our episodes, our bios, our merch store at Teespring, and of course enter your email for a permanent entry to win a mystery horror shirt every month. I still have never won that one. For more horror entertainment, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Followers get our daily splatter, which is a bit of horror info every single day right into your feed. You never know what you may discover. We really hope you enjoyed the new live format, and we'd love to get your feedback. Subscribe to our channel and smash that bell like a zombie head for the latest from the show. Golly, I'm terrible at this. I need to start practicing more. I used to do this all the time. I was amazing at it. Now I suck because I'm old. And lastly, if you truly love what we do here and would like and able to support the production, you can do so through our PayPal and Patreon. We have patron tiers as low as $1, which gets you bonus and exclusive content, horror films every month, links to everything, including our Discord community, where you can find film recommendations, trailers, trivia games, and even interact directly with us, are below. But we know these are trying times and things are extremely tight. As always, simply liking and sharing this show to your local horror community is always the absolute best way to help us continue to grow. We appreciate each and every one of you for your continued listenership. I'm Johnny O.
I'm JL.
And I'm Eugene.
We'll see you next week, and as always, stay scared.